water.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Brother Azrael here, man, of the Hopeful Elect. Got
Brother
a
Jamal.
Brother Denal. Sorry about that. And then we bring in another Wisdom Wednesday, man. You know, your brothers try to give you some wisdom every Wednesday. Wisdom Wednesday, man. Try to give you some wisdom every Wednesday.
Got to get the views up, man.
But yeah, man. So let me see. It's gonna be a quickie, man. It's gonna be a quickie, man. But everybody knows the quickies are good. Quickies are good, man. The sword is sharp, right, and quick and powerful, right. So anyway, man, we see the lesson today. Consider the impossible. Wisdom Wednesday. Consider the impossible, right? Because a lot of us, we don't consider the impossible when we're going through our day-to-day walk. Right? We don't consider the impossible when we're faced in our certain situations. Right? We don't consider the impossible when we're praying. Right? We don't consider the impossible when good things happen to us. Right? Actually, this is a reminder video, man, so that you can go into your thoughts, into your memory bank, and you can think about all the things that you thought were impossible that you actually were able to achieve by the grace of the Most High God, right? So consider these things, man. Don't forget them, because once you start forgetting them, right, you'll lose faith. Once you start forgetting the things that you should consider, you will lose faith. Right? Shalom to that brother, Yeshaya. Come, man. So consider the impossible. So I'm gonna salute him, man. Without further ado, we want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Who sent his son as an instrument of salvation for the nation. All right, getting into this real quick. I'm gonna pull up Mark chapter 6, right? We're just gonna talk through scripture, man. I want to go over Mark chapter 6 and Mark chapter 8, right? Just some key things to go over for considering faith, right? If one of you guys could start reading this for me, verse 45.
Mark chapter 6 and verse 45. And straightway he constrained his disciples to get into the ship and to go to the other side before unto Bethsaida, while he sent away the people.
Right. So it says, while he sent away the people. If you go back and you read Mark 6, this is where he took the 5 loaves and fed the 5,000, right? A great miracle, right? One of the top miracles that everybody remembers Christ doing when he was on this earth, right? Was taking 5 loaves and feeding 5,000 and still having, I believe, 12 baskets left over. Right? If we go to verse 46.
And when he had sent them away, he departed into a mountain to pray.
All right. Let's keep reading.
And when even was come, the ship was in the midst of the sea, and he alone on the land.
Right.
And he saw them toiling and rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them. And about the 4th watch of the night, he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea, and would have passed them by.
Right? And so, he went to go pray. And when he came back from praying, he saw that boat of all his disciples, which he commanded to go to the ship. He saw that boat toiling in the midst of the sea, swaying back and forth, and they were rowing to try to stabilize the boat, right? A lot of times in our life, right, we get sent somewhere, or we believe God's leading us somewhere, and we feel like God just left us, right? They might have felt like Christ just left them, man. He's just going to go and pray while we're in this storm, right? Not knowing that he the one that sent you on that boat. He the one that put you on them waters. He the one that put you in that storm, right? And at the end of this, it says, and would have passed by them. A lot of times we think Christ or the Most High God passed by us and went to somebody else and didn't consider our situation, right? But he's walking upon the sea, man. Meaning, what does it mean to walk upon the sea? He's controlling everything, right? So that sea that you may think is in your life, the person that you're praying to, he the one that causing the sea. You know, it's crazy to think like that, but he's the one that's causing your sea. He's the one that's causing your storm, the one that you're praying to, right? You're praying for the storm to be over with, and he the one that causing the storm, right? A lot of us, we get into situations or events or certain things in relationships with people, and we wondering, why is all this happening to me? Why did this happen to this person? Hey, the person you're praying to, he the one that caused it to happen. He the one that allowed it to happen, right? But he wants to show you that just like he has power to control it and walk all over it, you have that same power, right? So you got to consider that. You got to consider, right? Let's keep reading. Verse 49.
But when they saw him walking upon the sea, they supposed it had been a spirit and cried out.
Right? They cried out to it because they suppose it was a spirit, man. And a lot of us, when we get into our storm or we get into that sea, right, and we can't see because it's so dark and the wind is blowing us every which way, a lot of times, man, we just settle for whatever we think, right? They thought it was a spirit and they just cried out, man. You're not supposed to just cry out to any random spirit. Luckily, you know what I'm saying, it was Christ. But let's go to verse 50.
Verse 50, for they all saw him and were troubled.
Right. And so sometimes, you know, the things that we need and the things that we pray for might trouble us. Right. When you go back to Exodus chapter 20 and they're getting the 10 commandments from the Most High God himself, and it was thunderings and lightnings. They told Moses, hey, look, all that's good and fine and dandy, but from now on, you talk to us. We don't want to talk to that man because they were troubled, right? And a lot of times, the Lord is described as, you know, wonderful and miraculous. And some of the things that he can do might trouble us, right? Because we're not used to his power acting in our life, right? If you keep reading, and immediately.
And immediately he talked with them and saith unto them, be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid.
Right. And then when you get those words after you pray, after you get that revelation, right? Be of good cheer. You get that confidence with you, right? You get that confidence, right? But I believe this next one's the point.
And he went up unto them into the ship, and the wind ceased, and they were sore amazed in themselves beyond measure, and wondered.
Right. So they're wondering because the wind stopped blowing. They're amazed because the wind stopped blowing. Not knowing that, hey, he had power over the sea the whole time. Right. They should have been amazed that he was walking on water. They should have been amazed that, you know, he wasn't scared. They should have been amazed, right, at him, you know, controlling the sea the first time to make the storm. But they were amazed when the wind stopped blowing. And a lot of us, man, the only time we're amazed is when our right now situation gets fixed. And then it's on to the next situation, right? Our right now event, we got out of it. So, you know, we forget it and it's on to the next. But like this video is titled, Consider the Impossible, right? What are you scared for? You just saw 5 loaves of bread, right? So this is the point, actually, verse 52.
For they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened.
Right? So they didn't consider what all happened during that day. They didn't consider 5,000 people got fed with 5 loaves of bread. They didn't consider that. They didn't consider that he walked on the water. They didn't consider, you know, all of that. They considered when their storm was over with because they felt like their life was in danger, right? And a lot of us, we don't consider some of the miracles that happen in our life, some of the things that God got us through in our life, some of the people God led us to in our life. We don't consider those things because we're focused on the right now, and the ship that we're on right now is toiling. So we don't consider, right, all the impossible things that he did in the past. And if we considered that, our faith would be bigger because of it, right? Our faith would be enlarged, and he wouldn't have to say to us, like he said to the disciples, "Oh, ye of little faith." He wouldn't have to say, "How long must I be with you?" Right? He wouldn't have to say all those things. He would be confident in knowing they consider their faith. They consider the impossible. They know already, right? They know that they can make it through. I don't have to be here anymore. And so we got to start considering the impossible, right? Because we've all been through the impossible. We all have instances in our life where we can clearly say, if we're in this truth, man, everybody has at least one instance in their life where they can say, and that was the Most High God that got me through that situation, right? Or you might be going through that situation right now, and you can say, man, it's only the Most High God that's keeping me right now, right? I'm gonna go to Mark chapter 8. Let's start at verse 1.
Come. Mark chapter 8 and verse 1. In those days, the multitude being very great, and having nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples unto him, and saith unto them.
Right. So Jesus Christ is coming to another multitude, right? Verse 2.
I have compassion on the multitude, because they have now been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat.
Right. So a lot of us also, man, in our time of toiling, in our sea, on our ship, in our storm, you gotta remember, and this is, and I talked to a brother a few Sabbath days ago about this. You gotta hold the Most High to his word. This whole book is nothing but legalities, right? All of it is contractual, meaning he's holding us to our word. So guess what? We gotta hold him to his word. He's okay with us holding him to his word. And I say that because, right, if we keep his word and we're nigh unto him, he's going to be nigh unto us. And if you feel like he's not nigh unto you, you can pray that prayer and ask him, Lord, come nigh to me. I need your help. So when we read this in Mark chapter 8 and verse 2, it said he had compassion on the multitude because they now been with him 3 days. They were with him, right? So spiritually speaking, man, when you're doing the things you're supposed to, when you're keeping the commandments, when you're spreading the gospel, when you're walking like you're supposed to, when you have repented, man, that's you spiritually being with him 3 days, right? 3 just being a number of completion, right? 3 days in the belly of the whale, 3 days in the earth, 3 days. The number 3 is everywhere in the Bible. So check us out. We're with him spiritually 3 days, and he's gonna have compassion on us. He's gonna know what we need. It says, and have nothing to eat. He knew what they needed, right? So the Most High God, he's and his son, they're gonna know what you need when you're with them, right? And that's when you have to consider the impossible, right? Once again, another multitude, right? Everybody that's following them, they probably heard about the 5,005 loaves. They don't care. They know that they're gonna get fed, and that's how we got to be in this faith, right? Let's keep reading.
Come. And if I send them away fasting to their own houses, they will faint by the way, for divers of them came from far.
So he knows how much we can take too now, right? He knows how much we can take. He said, if I send them home now, they're going to faint in the way. A diverse number of them had came from far. He knows how far we've come. He knows all the bad stuff we've done in our life, man. He knows the things that, we could have took us out, but we came a long way to come and walk into this knowledge of the truth and to be with Christ, right? And to be with the Father. So guess what? He's gonna take care of us, right? He's gonna make sure we don't faint in the way. He's gonna make sure that that ship that we're on is gonna not have any holes in it, even though that storm is rocking. He's gonna make sure that we gonna be all right, right? And so that's why we have to consider the impossible. We can't be like the 12 disciples in this instance where they did not consider, for their hearts were hardened, right? Don't harden your heart just because the situation you're in may seem tough, right? You got to consider the impossible. There's things in my life I know, and you know that's the thing, man. Time you doesn't wait for anybody. You can't get time back, and you know also what comes with time is memories, right? But for some reason, I'm gonna blame Satan. For some reason, when you got it, when it's time for you to sit down when you're praying and you're trying to recall all the things that God got you through, it's hard to recall them. One, because there's so many, and two, your mind just kind of goes blank sometimes. But you know for a fact that when you was in that situation, that was the only thing that mattered. But God got you through it, and now you can't even remember it, right? And so that's why it's needed for us to constantly be reminded to consider the things that He's already done in our life that we thought was impossible, right? Verse 4. Go ahead, Yash.
God, I was gonna say Luke 12:24.
Let me pull it up.
We have this. We have that scripture on our hats. Me and the brother Donald that we got when we went to Baltimore, and it's mighty because it goes right along with what the brother is saying. Right?
The brothers didn't want to be brotherly though. They just said, "Look, we counted all the hats in the store, and there was not enough hats for everybody." So they said, "I'm gonna go buy it anyway." That's wild. That's wild. But you know, the Christ in me was like, "Nah, y'all go ahead and buy it, man. You know, I'm gonna be lowly at this point. You know, y'all go ahead and buy it. Make sure y'all heads covered."
Hey, bro. All I'm gonna say is, man, is that there's opportunities for us to get the same hats, but
brothers don't even wear the hats no more.
I just wore mine not too long ago. But Luke 12:24, man, it says, "Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, right? Which neither have storehouse nor barn, and God feedeth them. How much more are ye better than the fowls?" Right? You know, you go back to Genesis 1, you can see that Lord gave man dominion over the fowls. So if He feeds them, how much more us? You know, and like it says, they neither sow nor reap. So to them, I mean, I'm not a bird, so you know what I'm saying. I can't go into the mind of a raven, but sometimes what may seem like the brother saying, what's impossible to us is not impossible to the Lord God we serve, because He makes things happen out of no way, right? The Creator of all things, So that's just a precept that I wanted to bring out to show the people, like, you watch this video, it's another good reference point to give you to meditate on when you're in the midst of that storm. You look at the birds of the air, you look at, the beast of the ground. Sometimes, man, you got to remember that the Lord provides for them. So He'll do the same for you. Just stay patient, stay focused.
Right, man. Because like you said, man, them ravens, man, they don't work for nothing. And they don't reap the benefits of what they don't work. You know what I'm saying? They just exist, right? And think about this: God gave you purpose in your life to be able to touch people, to help people, to build, increase, to learn, right? You have all those things. So how much better are you than the fowl that the bird just exists, man, and He's taken care of. Right, so you got to consider that. That's the impossible right there, right?
The twist to that is, man, like the brother was saying, you're only better than a bird, a raven, or even a dumb animal like the ox and the ass if you're doing your duty. If not, man, then the Lord kind of treats you like, you know, whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? But when you're operating in your purpose, mm, you can firmly trust in the Lord and know that He's gonna come through, even if it looks cloudy right now, right? Them Ravens, man. I like the brother said, I can't put my mind in the mind of a raven, but I'm pretty sure they don't wake up every day wondering if they're gonna eat, man. They just go out and get it. You know what I'm saying? And they got full confidence in knowing that they're gonna eat for the day. And that's the confidence you have to have in the Lord. Especially, kind of relying on Hebrews 11:1,
Uh,
and having that faith, right? You got to have that faith every time you wake up, knowing that He can do what the brother titled this video, right? He can do the impossible. But
Man, that it all boils down to faith at the end of the day, because them Ravens just have faith, man. If they go to a bush and there's no berries there, they on to the next bush. They're not gonna beat themselves up about it. They might go all day and not find any berries, but
yeah,
they
and if
don't.
they
They go right back out tomorrow and look for them same berries.
right, man, if they don't find some on that day, I'm led to believe that they're low key shocked. Like, dang, we didn't find nothing to eat today. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah,
kind of how you got to be too.
yeah.
Expect it, but if it doesn't happen, you kind of like, dang, man, what did I do wrong? Then you start, don't question the Lord, question yourself.
Right. So, considering the impossible kind of boils down to faith, man. You read verse 4.
Verse number 4, and his disciples answered him, from whence can a man satisfy these men with bread here in the wilderness?
Right. They questioning them. Right. Not then they knowing that they've already been here before. But what's happening is people just don't consider the past. They don't consider what's already happened. Right.
Con, and he asked them, how many loaves have ye? And they said, 7.
It says 7. Now pay attention now.
And he commanded the people to sit down on the ground, and he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks and brake, and gave to his disciples to set before them, and they did set them before the people.
All right.
And they had a few small fishes, and he blessed and commanded to set them also before them. So they did eat and were filled, and they took up of the broken meat that was left 7 baskets.
Right. And so he did it all over again. So sometimes in our life, man, God will do the same thing all over again just to try to make you see that, hey, I can do this more than once. I can do this whenever I please. Right. And sometimes we look at some brothers, some sisters, and we like, man, God got a hand on their life because he just keep doing the same thing over and over to this person, right? And God also is doing that to prove to you, though, right? He did it for all those people, but he also did it for the disciples so the disciples could see too. And all of it should build everybody's faith, right? The people that observe, the people that are in it, the people that do it, right?
It's kind of like that TV show called Chalk Zone. You know what I'm saying? In Chalk Zone, I don't know the character's name or anything like that, but whenever they needed something, man, all they had to do was draw it, and it came to life, right? And just thinking that that's the type of faith that you have to have in the Most High, right? That He's orchestrating this whole thing, and to think that something's impossible for Him is really laughable, right? Because He's literally chalk zone in the spirit. I was gonna say in the flesh, but he's chalk zone in the spirit, right? He can draw something, right? It says, how can a man know his own way, right? He can draw something in your path that you didn't see coming, right? He can put somebody in your path that you didn't expect to help you out, right? And there's scriptures like you might be entertaining angels unaware, right? It might be people he just drew up. You know what I'm saying? There's people that have these type of encounters, right? There's, you walk across and you find $100 on the ground, right? Who was to say that it was there to say that the wind is the Lord's breath, right? Who's to say that he blew that $100 right there, right after he drew it? You know what I'm saying? But just thinking it like that the Lord, man, he really is like the ultimate chalk zone, man. This is his masterpiece. We're living in a canvas, right? In a looking glass, and he's pulling the strings. So just know that anything is possible, nothing's impossible when it comes to him. Asking, ye shall receive. It says that the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. You know what I'm saying? I think paraphrasing, if you read before that, it talks about how a righteous man receives everything he asks for, right? And that comes with faith, man, trusting and the confidence, like the brother was saying. Become.
We're gonna read like 9 more verses and we'll wrap it up. But yeah, kind of like what the brother Denal was saying, man. You know, the Bible says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivereth from them all, right? That's if you're righteous, right? But let's pick up verse 11.
Verse 11, and the Pharisees came forth and began to question with him, seeking of him a sign from heaven, tempting him.
So, you know, there's going to be people out there, man, that claim to be believers, and they always got questions, man. It's miracle after miracle, impossible after impossible. They still need a sign. And those people are just blind, right? There could be so many signs in the world, right? And they still don't see them, right? Kind of like how we feel the world is now. They're so caught up in everything that's not important. And we're trying to say, man, you don't see these signs? You don't see these signs, man? These signs is, man, we at the end. But you need to wake up. They don't see it, right? Because they don't consider the impossible, right? Let's go to verse 12.
And he sighed deeply in his spirit and saith, why does this generation ask for a sign, seek after a sign? Verily,
right, he thinking, why are you asking for a sign, bro? I just fed 4,000 with 7 loaves of bread, and there was leftovers. Why are you asking for what sign? What else do you want me to do? Right? Keep going.
Verily I say unto you, there shall no sign be given unto this generation.
Right, because a lot of times in our life, man, we just be asking God for a sign, and he done gave us 10 signs. He done gave us 7 signs. He done gave us 5 signs and some leftovers. And we still asking for a sign because 1, we're greedy, and 2, we don't have any confidence, and 3, we have no faith, right? These Pharisees, they didn't have no faith. Some of the disciples, they didn't have large enough faith, right? That's why they didn't have confidence, right? When they run into a hard situation, they didn't have no confidence, right? And Christ right here, he kind of getting fed up. In my mind, he's saying this with an attitude, right? Verse 13.
And he left them, and entering into the ship again, departed to the other side.
Right? He just left them. Right? Sometimes don't speak too much with a fool, man. Right? Verse 14.
Now the disciples had forgotten to take bread, neither had they in the ship with them more than 1 loaf.
Right? Verse 15.
And he charged them, saying, take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the leaven of Herod.
Right? What perfect time to say that. It's a master teacher. When they didn't have any, they forgot to take bread. Just like we forgot to take bread in Egypt going into the wilderness. And he brought up, beware the leaven. There's a master rabbi, man. That's a master teacher. He says everything when he's supposed to say it, right? Verse 16. Like a lot of us, man, we don't look for edification in the midst of our problems, right? We don't look for comparisons in the midst of our problems when it comes to things that were written aforetime, right? We're not witty like that. Like, dang. What's an example? This might be folly, but dang, my water filter in my refrigerator is bad and I can't get no water. Right? And the part costs $60. Dang, man, I guess I gotta go to the store. Or you could just consider like, man, hey man, I gotta read more, man. I gotta, that living water, man. Maybe I haven't been consuming that living water. I gotta question myself. I gotta, you gotta remind yourself of the Bible and the Word of God at all times, man. That might have been a bad example, but you get the point, right? If something happens in your life, right? Don't just focus on what's happening, right? Look for the spiritual lessons too, right? Verse 16.
And they reason among themselves, saying, "It is because we have no bread."
Disciples, man. Keep going.
And when Jesus knew it, he said unto them, "Why reason ye because ye have no bread?"
Right? Why? Man, I done did this twice now. Christ is like, man, I done did this twice now. And keep going.
Perceive ye not yet, neither understand?
Y'all still don't have faith? You still not considering that I can do the impossible, bro? I done walked on water. I done fed 5,000. I done fed 4,000. And y'all still don't understand. And this is nothing but Jake, man. This is nothing but our people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We always have a short memory. Even when it comes to our relationships with our spouses, man. We remember the things we want to, and we don't remember the things we don't want to. Right? And that's just how we treat the relationship with the Father. Right? We remember the things we want to, and then the stuff that we should remember, for some reason, it just happens to escape us. Right? Go ahead.
Come. Where did I stop at?
Have ye your heart?
Have ye your heart hardened, yet hardened?
Right? Because, their hearts was hardened the other time, but he's like, man, your heart shouldn't be hardened this time. Yeah, that was a while ago. Right? Verse 18.
Having eyes, see ye not? Having ears, hear ye not? And do ye not remember?
Right? Talking spiritually, man. Well, and physically for them. Right? Can you imagine that they saw all these things happen physically and they still had no confidence, had no faith? That's why, and I say this as a man, that's why I believe, a lot of us have a greater measure of faith than the disciples did. Because a lot of us, man, we believe in and we have confidence that we never even seen Christ, let alone was breathing the same air that he was breathing. We wasn't alive when he was alive. We just heard stories, and based off the stories we believe. That's how you know it's spiritual. But they were actually there, and they still had a hard time having confidence and considering the impossible. All right? Verse 19.
Verse 19. When I break the 5 loaves among 5,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? They say unto him, 12.
Right? So guess what? He asking this question because he's like, man, I'm gonna make sure y'all know you remember, right? So a lot of times when you talking to your kids, when you're talking to your spouse, when you're talking to your friends, and a debate comes up, and you're like, I know you didn't forget so and so, and you kind of have to ask them, when this happened, what happened? What did I do when this happened? And they tell you, be like, okay, when this happened, what happened when this happened? And then they tell you, because you gotta ask those rhetorical questions to make sure that they understand, that they remember, that they consider, right? He's asking these questions so he don't have to tell them, hey, look, consider these things. He's trying to ask these questions so that they can consider when it comes back to their mind, because they obviously forgot, right? Verse 20.
Okay, let me jog your memory. And when
Right.
the 7 among 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? And they said 7.
Right.
And he said unto them, how is it that ye do not understand?
He's like, so what the heck are y'all talking about in this boat, bro? He like, I don't understand it, bro. Help me understand. Y'all remember, obviously y'all remember, but he had to really think that they was ignorant. Like he had to think that they was really not all together up there in the mind. That's how dumb this flesh is, right? And that's why we always gotta stay in the spirit, right? And we laughing and smiling about it now, but a lot of that is us. We get in these situations in our life and events in our life and seasons in our life, and we forget about all the stuff that he's already done, right? So if anything out of this video, I just hope that when you guys go into your closets of prayer, that you guys try to remember, even throughout your day, try to remember things that he got you out of, because that's going to give you the confidence and the faith to get through the next thing, right? And the next thing and the next thing. And that altogether is called enduring until the end, right? Let's get verse 23 or 22.
Come, man. It's kind of like when you ask a joke, like why is 6 afraid of 7? And you say because 7, 8, 9, and the person's like, wait, I don't understand. And you're like, brother, what comes after 6? 7. What comes after 7? 8. What comes after 9? I mean, what comes after 8? 9. How do you not understand it, bro? I just don't understand, bro. Because 7, 8, 9, it's like one of those things where it's like, man, you know, they got eyes to see, ears to hear, but their mind is just not comprehending what's going on, you know. And sometimes people are like that. I know when we go on the street sometimes and we're trying to teach people precept upon precept, showing them word for word, black and white, and they still just don't understand, or they're fighting against it. And it's like, you know, you ask these questions over again, and they answer it right, but then when you try to make them put it together, you know, it's like, you
So
know,
who must we be, sister? Black? What?
it's like, bro,
No,
it's
we're
like,
the Israelites. What the-
it's like, come on, bro. Like, you not here right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, come on, man. Sometimes we act like dumb animals, you know. But hey,
The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know. My people
what?
do not consider.
They
don't
don't
even
consider, man. Our
Don't
people
even
do not
consider.
consider, man. But you know, that was actually the last verse. So unless y'all brothers got
I got a
closing
precept, man.
precepts, yeah, go ahead, shoot them.
I'll share my screen. Coming from Ecclesiasticus 11 and 21. It says, marvel not at the works of a sinner. Here's a point, but trust in the Lord and abide in thy labor, right? Keep doing what you're doing. What did Galatians 6 and 9 say? It says, grow not weary in well doing, right? For you shall reap if you faint not, right? It says, abide in thy labor. Keep doing what you're doing, man. If you know what you're doing is good, keep doing it. It says, for it is an easy thing in the sight of the Lord on the what? On the sudden to make a poor man rich, right? You might live your whole life thinking, man, you ain't never gonna get a break, right? And it says on the sudden, right? I was just talking to Brother Azrael about this a couple of weeks ago. Somebody was in my house trying to we was getting some service done, and the man was telling me, man, he was getting shut down after interview, right? Reaching out to folks, no. And then finally somebody just hired him on the spot, and it's the best job he's ever had, right? You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing. That break is gonna come through. And it's not because of you, but it's coming from the Lord, right? He just wants to know that you are taking the proper steps and being faithful enough to be consistent no matter what it looks like. You got to have that faith and that confidence. Next verse, it says, the blessings of the Lord is in the reward of the godly, right? And suddenly he maketh his blessings flourish, right? I like this the verbiage here because it's talking about suddenly, right? Because everything when it happens, it always happens suddenly out of nowhere, letting you know it had nothing to do with you really, right? But suddenly he maketh the blessings flourish, right? You be in affliction or in a standstill or a period of just nothingness, but suddenly that blessing will flourish, man. You just got to keep having the faith and keep doing what you're doing and knowing what type of God you serve, right? One that impossible is not even in the realm of which he is, right? Because he can do the impossible. So consider the impossible, like the title of the lesson, Bakan.
Con, I got a precept too. I'm share my screen if I can get it to pull up. It's like King James Bible. You don't want to pull up. I'll just share it from here. Use this site. Let me see. Present, share screen. Tab. So I want to read this. Proverbs 3:5-6, right? Says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths, right? Goes on a lot to say that, man, our thoughts are not his thoughts and our ways are not his ways. So just like the brother Denal just brought out, on the sudden, things could change on the fly, you know? And don't think just because you don't think it's possible that it's impossible for the Most High God. You know, we have miracles performed, like the brother Azrael brought out, to serve as a reminder to remember the former things and call those things to mind when situations such as, you know, hardship presents itself. It's not even physical hardship. You know, a lot of people see messages like this and they think about money. They think about, you know, physical goals, you know, materialistic things. Think about it in the spirit, you know. In the spirit, man, you may be fighting battles. You may be struggling with things, and you may feel like, well, there ain't no way out. But the Lord, the Most High God, can, you know, change things around for you in an instant. But you got to be spiritually, you know, sorrowful for the things that you've done. You have to repent and make haste not to do those things again. Situations can change. Like the brother said, you might be dealing with a situation where your water on your refrigerator goes out. But then, like, you think, man, shoot, I ain't read or fasted or prayed in 6-7 weeks, bro. You know, I ain't took hold of that living water in a long time. So, hey, I need to get on that before, you know, so that way this water can get turned on. And it'll just be your lucky break. You go read a couple chapters, and the next thing you know, you go on the refrigerator, tap on the thing just to test it out, and here it come flowing again. Stuff like that, you know, is never impossible. I know it seems cliche to say it, and I know people believe that, and I know people be waiting for it to happen, but it might not happen for you, you know. But at the end of the day, just know that it is a possibility. It can happen, and don't be like the disciples. You know what I'm saying? Be a little bit more wittier with your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And remember those things. See these examples and use them to our benefit. Bakan.
And another example, man. You know, my trash service didn't pick my dumpster up because my lid wasn't on top of the trash.
So they happened with us.
Yeah, so they left me a note, man, and you know, I had to call them people, and they still haven't picked it up. So I could, you know, be kind of pissed off right now in my situation, or I can consider the trash that might be in my life. You know what I'm saying? I can consider the trash that might be, you know, stopping a blessing, right? Because right now that trash at the edge of my driveway right now is building up, and you know, we only gonna get more trash throughout the week, right? And you know, that's, you know, spiritually talking, man, we gotta clear that trash out before it builds up, and you know, you it's just too much to handle, and now you're stuck in your trash, right? But
hey, you gotta clean up your own mess sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta just take it into your own hands, man. Like what I'm about to read here, and find somebody else's dumpster and put it in, you know. But Proverbs 6:6 says, man, I'll close on this. It says, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways. So when you look at the ants, consider, man, that's a miracle. When an ant pile, it could be as big as possible. It could be the biggest ant pile you've seen. You destroy it, and like the brother Yeshaya say, you don't see those ants just sitting still once you destroy it. Oh man, it took us forever to build that. Nah, they hustling, they moving everywhere, they making haste, right, to repent and to rebuild and to build it up again, right? And before you know it, you know, and within a few hours, that ant pile's built back up. You're like, man, what the heck? I just destroyed this ant pile, right? That's a miracle, man. So how they're able to work like that. So it says, consider their ways. Right, verse 7 says, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler. They don't have nobody that's beating their back in, right? They don't have nobody that's whipping them. They don't have nobody got them in chains, right? They just doing this, right? And now also, you know, there's people in life that's like that too, that manifest their own destinies and pray to the universe and all that. If they can, you know, if they can get past their situations, how much more us that has a guide? We have a light, right? We have an overseer. We have somebody that's looking over us that knows what sea or what storm that we're in. We have a ruler, right?
Come on, man. Consider the ants, man, because you look at it, man.
Hold on one second. Let me finish reading this real quick. Provideth her meat in the summer and gathereth her food in the harvest. So that they know that if they do these things, they're gonna be all right throughout the year, man. And that's the point. They have faith. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you gotta consider the ants because, and just the God that we serve, He made an animal, right? That a lot of us can smush to pieces or break in half with our pinky finger, right? And this animal that's so frail and so thin can lift up to 10 times his body weight, right? Without ever hitting the gym, right? Never lifted up a weight. Doesn't really eat the protein that we gotta eat, right? He does all of it. The ant does all of this just by sheer just being born. You know what I'm saying? You got to consider the God you serve that can make a creature like that can pick up 10 times his body weight without ever hitting the gym, right?
Come on, man. With that, we're that hopeful elect. Another Wisdom Wednesday in the books. The harvest is plentiful. The laborers are few. We're just trying to be part of those laborers. But if you're not gathering, you're scattering, man. I'm Azrael.
Brother Dono.
Brother Yeshaya.
And we're signing out. We say shalom.
Shalom. Peace, love, lightning.